The Ringer has a definitive ranking. According to them, the headline is actually an unbiased, totally correct ranking of every NFL pass catching unit 2023 edition. So this is the Ringer's ranking of the pass catching groups on each team. And so this is the top 4 receivers on the team, running back, and tight end. So they're including running back pass catching ability, tight end pass catching ability, all of that. It's not just the receiving core. So in this group, I will tell you guys right now, right off the top, the Dallas Cowboys are in the top 10. They're on this list.
It should be.
Roughly, where are you guessing they're going to finish on this list?
8. 7.
8.
7.
7, okay. Sean?
I don't want to give away all my answers. 3. I will say that they're about 5 or 6.
Okay. All right. So number 1, we'll go 1 to 10, and we'll see how long it takes us to get to the Dallas Cowboys. The number 1 pass catching unit in football is... Anybody want to take any guesses here?
I would guess Seattle or Philly.
No, it's both.
What?
It's obvious when you hear it. It's the Cincinnati Bengals. Jamar Chase.
Yes, and think for a second.
That's all right. Yeah. You were looking at me like you, I know you don't
Well, you said both.
I know, and so then you were staring at me like you wanted me to keep talking. I'm sorry. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, the 4th receiver, Trenton Irwin, Joe Mixon at running back, and then Irv Smith at tight end. Number 2 is the Philadelphia Eagles. So they are the top receiving core in the NFC East. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. That's really where it ends because it's Olamide Zaccheaus and Quez Watkins as the other 2 with DeAndre Swift and Dallas Goedert. I saw Ross Tucker saying the other day that, look, you know, Dallas Goedert is not asked to do some of the same things that Travis Kelce or George Kittle are asked to do. He's like, but the efficiency says if he was asked to do it, he could be right up there with those guys.
The efficiency says that?
That's what he said. He said he's shown how efficient he is, that if he was asked to do the things that Travis Kelce was asked to do, he could do it. It's strong. You ready to have Ross on again?
No.
Number 3. You got a guess?
Miami.
No.
Is it choppy Seattle?
No, it is the NFC West.
San
Francisco 49ers. You got to remember, they're going to include Kittle in this. Christian McCaffrey. Kyle Juszczyk is the fullback there, is the best receiving fullback in the NFL. Then they've got Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and Juwan Jennings. Then it's the Seattle Seahawks at number 4. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Rockwall Zone, Kenneth Walker, Noah Fant, and Will Dissly. So we get to the Minnesota Vikings.
At 5?
At number 5, which... Is this where we start?
Hawkinson,
do we start questioning a little bit like, okay, is this more where a Miami or a Dallas should be?
Whose list is this?
This is the Ringer. So this is obviously being carried by Justin Jefferson.
Is that Bill Simmons thing?
Yeah.
It wasn't Simmons' article, though.
Yeah, but he has his fingerprints all over.
Yeah, but Vikings number 5, mainly because Justin Jefferson's the best in the NFL. They drafted Jordan Addison in the first round, but after that, they got Hawkinson at tight end. They made that trade. But there's still questions at running back. There's questions as the number 2 and 3 receiver, 2 through 4 actually, because Jordan Addison's a rookie. Number 6.
By the way, is Justin Jefferson going to go to number 1 in every fantasy league this year?
1 or 2 probably. I mean, you tell us. Is he going number 1 in the fantasy league?
What an uncomfortable year to have
a number 1 pick,
a top pick, because this is the year that the running backs are changing. This is the year that people are going away from the running back.
Yeah.
So you've seen Kelce up there. You've seen Jefferson up there. You know, are you going to really feel bad if you end up with Mahomes? RJ Choppy with the number 1 pick in the fantasy draft.
Do you know who you're taking yet?
No.
I have number 2, so tell me so I can start planning.
You look, you could probably whittle it down. You're going to have a great player either way. I don't know. Like, I have no idea. I've got a fantasy draft this weekend. So maybe I'll get an idea.
Yeah. He's taking Jared Goff, number 1. Los Angeles Chargers are number 6 with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Quentin Johnston, Josh Palmer, Austin Eckler, Gerald Everett. And then we get to the Dallas Cowboys at number 7, ahead of the Miami Dolphins, which I think is pretty interesting. So it's Lamb, Cooks, Gallup, Tolbert, Pollard, Ferguson. It says Lamb led all receivers in yards from the slot in 2022. Cooks not so quietly quit on the Houston Texans as they were tanking last season, but had 1,000 yards in 6 of the previous 8 seasons, a feat matched only by Travis Kelce and Mike Evans. Pollard is one of the most electric playmakers with the ball in his hands in the entire NFL, but he's coming off a broken leg from January. And then right behind them, rounding out the top 10, you've got the Dolphins with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. They're a little more questionable at receivers 3 and 4, and the running back and tight end connection isn't as strong. Number 9, the Cleveland Browns with Amari Cooper as their number 1 receiver. And then number 10, the Atlanta Falcons with Drake London, Barry Sanders, Cordero Patterson, and Kyle Pitts. So what's interesting here is number 24 on this list. And why is that interesting at all? Because number 24 is the Denver Broncos. And number 24 was the Denver Broncos before Jerry Jeudy got hurt for what I believe is the 5th injury he sustained in the last calendar year.
What number, real quick, did you say Philly was?
Philly was number 2.
Number 2. Okay.
Yep. And number 24 is the Broncos, and this included Jerry Jeudy as their number 1 wide receiver. So since then, Jerry Jeudy's gotten hurt. They obviously had the torn ACL from Tim Patrick, so he wasn't included in this, or the torn Achilles from Tim Patrick. So Jeudy is on this list, but he's out now. So the receiving core for the Denver Broncos is Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Kendall Hinton, Javonte Williams, and Greg Dulcich. And so when you look at that, and you look at them taking hits at the receiving core, and you've got Dallas with the number 7 group, and all the depth that it feels like they have in their pass catching group right now, would you explore at all the option for a Michael Gallup to Denver? Would you pick up the phone at all and just say, hey, what would it take? What would you guys throw our way just to see?
I would. I've never been the biggest Michael Gallup fan. I felt like he's been overhyped around here. Now I'm not ready. I would see. I'm not buying Jalen Tolbert yet off of a preseason game and a nice training camp. Unless I know, like, I'm sure coaches at times during the preseason, they're like, this guy's going to be a baller. There's no doubt about it. Like, we know this guy's a stud. If you have that feeling, no doubt, about Jalen Tolbert after he had the mental issues last year with the confidence, fine, go ahead and do it. But you probably gotta really impress me, maybe blow me away to get Gallup if you're Denver. Because I don't know what Jalen Tolbert's going to be.
Why is it that?
And obviously, what are you giving up? Where are they deep?
I don't disagree with you at all. That
and we need to find out Gallup's trade hit. If you trade him, a lot of shows do this stuff, and they don't actually look at the salary cap, what the hit would be. So that's something important that we will look up.
It's important, but it doesn't make it fun if it throws a wrench into it. His dead cap, if they were to trade him like right now, so like his cap hit this year is $6 million, his dead cap's 19. That's right now. The potential out, you could just cut him, is after this year where you just cut him.
Well, it's a dead money trade because it's post June 1 to be a post June 1 trade. So the dead money would be 4.3. They'd save $2.5 million roughly by trading him off the cap.
So, I mean, look, it's a smart and a dumb thing to do. The smart thing to do is like, you know, if you have somebody that's waiting, that's cheap, trade out. And it's the quarterbacks. You're paying the quarterback $40 million to find the next Michael Gallup, to make Tolbert into Gallup.
Yeah.
Picked in the same range, roughly.
But you don't want to downgrade your number 3 receiver.
But then again, the number 3 receiver is like the tight end in that it is such an advantage to have a great one. Having an elite tight end, like elite, such an advantage. Having an elite number 3, such an advantage. Like Tampa had that with Antonio Brown. And I generally hate taking from a position of strength.
Are we not talking enough about, we keep mentioning the...
Plus, if they traded Gallup for a linebacker, you would probably
lose your mind.
I
lose my mind on that one anyway. This team has invested so much in the linebacking room as it is.
I could do it for an offensive lineman.
Would you do it for a linebacker? Free up Micah, cover what you've lost with Overshown going down.
Who are my linebackers right now?
Leighton Vander Esch, Micah Parsons.
Micah does not count. Next.
Damone Clark, Devin Harper, Jabril Cox.
Ugh. I'd listen.
You'd listen on a linebacker?
I'd listen on a linebacker.
Which they have plenty of depth on the defensive side of the ball. That's clearly one area where Denver has not struggled this year. I mean, Randy Gregory could play some linebacker, I guess, if you really need him to.
Why? If Mozzie does his job, then the linebacker core will be good.
I mean, that's part of it.
I'll listen to a linebacker.
Run and chase will. That's what you want. You want the guy to just keep him clean on the second level, let him run through the line of scrimmage and make plays. So, yeah, if Mozzie does his job, that improves your linebacking core in a big way. Why are we... And I know it's fair to talk about Jalen Tolbert's confidence issues and what's going on between the ears and everything else. He's talked about that himself very publicly, and that it's a work in progress and it's something that he's building towards. Why don't we have that same discussion when we're comparing Tolbert and Gallup? Why aren't we having that same discussion about Gallup, who clearly had issues with confidence last year coming off the injury.
Great question, but we've seen it. We know Michael can play. We have no idea if Jalen Tolbert can play. I don't have any idea if he can. They may have. They have more of an idea in practice, but not in real games. We've seen it from Michael.
He does. You would say, though, that Tolbert looks different than what you saw in camp and preseason last year, right?
I mean, Ray Charles can see that. I mean, everyone knows that Jalen Tolbert has been a 180, but he hasn't done anything in a regular season game. Michael Gallup has.
Just something to consider.
Third rounder.
A third rounder for Gallup?
If they offered you that.
I mean, I would take it. I don't think they'd offer it.
Now, the fan text and 337 brings up, I know you hate him, but if Lamb gets hurt,
I do.
You've got a Cooks-Tolbert duo. Like, that's scary.
If Lamb gets hurt, you have a Cooks.
Let's say you trade Gallup.
Yeah.
If Lamb gets hurt, now your top two receivers are Cooks and Tolbert.
But we're already talking about your linebackers are hurt. Your linebackers hurt, and
Right,
you're
but
missing
they
people,
don't
and you
matter.
need depth.
They don't matter.
Well, I mean, they kind of matter.